Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Now, this is a bit of an odd video. Now, I know you guys are waiting for the finale of Season 1 of Ark, but I have got with me here somebody who, if it wasn't for this person, I wouldn't be here. And I recently saw a video of his that upset me and thrilled me. So I thought I'm going to drag him on here. We're going to have a talk, and we're going to see what is what. This guy was a zombies connoisseur, okay? And he has got the silkiest voice on the internet. Joint with Xbox Ahoy, obviously.
Dude, he's the king. Xbox Ahoy is the king, all right? And even Markiplier, too. You give me way too much credit.
No, I do not. No, I do not. So for everybody who's wondering, I used to run a zombies channel about 9 years ago. It started up. And the reason why I actually ran it was because, in the first place, I went onto YouTube and I typed in voice acting, voice actors, all this sort of stuff, because I wanted to be a voice actor. I still want to be a voice actor. And because I wanted to do something with my voice. And there were two channels that came up. One was Xbox Ahoy, and the other one was Radaustin, which is the person you see in front of you today. Crazy, I know. I don't know how YouTube searching added YouTube searches back in the day were, you know, relevant. Now, when you type something in, you can actually find something. And so I started like watching Rad first off, and I watched the zombie stuff. Now, I used to play a lot of zombies back in the day, and that's what I based my channel around. But Rad has been in the community for how long now?
12 years.
12 years in the zombie community. And you uploaded a video yesterday, which was entitled...
The End of My Zombies Journey.
Which, that video will be linked in the description down below. The first half is a sponsorship ad.
Yeah.
The stuff he's got behind him. And the second half will tug at your heartstrings. So let's start at the beginning, and we will move on from there, because I want to, in your own words, document your time here on YouTube. So if you do decide, for whatever reason, to say goodbye permanently, that there is something that people could say, oh, I watched this guy, where is he now? And they can have a look at this video and say, this is what's happened, this is what it was from start to finish, etc. So consider this your autobiography. That isn't an autobiography.
Dave, this is humbling to me. I can't believe anyone gives a shit, let alone someone like you, one of my peers and somebody I admire, to give a crap about me. I don't know. This is so strange to me, and that's why I find a lot of the comments wonderful, encouraging, but also just like, it's so strange to see that anybody gives a shit.
Mate, when I put up why I left my zombie, when I left zombies, when I put that video up, I had people saying, "Oh, finally, he's gone." I
had a few of those, and I don't blame them.
Right then, let's start at the beginning, Rad.
All right.
So why have you started zombie? Why did you start your zombie channel?
Well, the way it started was I was 14 years old and I was watching 5-player podcasts. They were JustinTV before they turned into Twitch.
Nobody knows who that is. No one watching this video knows what JustinTV is. You'll have to explain it.
Yeah, so JustinTV was the live streaming platform before Twitch bought it. I'm pretty sure it was Twitch, but they changed the name because somebody committed suicide.
So JustinTV was a streaming platform for everything, not just gaming. Yeah. And they made, because gaming was so popular, JustinTV made Twitch so that the gamers would go on there and everybody else would go on Justin. And then, as you rightly said, something went wrong.
And then they changed the branding, changed the company, things went on. And so it later became Twitch. But I signed up for a JustinTV account because I was watching the 5-player podcast. I think they're still around. They still post things every now and then, but they didn't really grow and they didn't go with the times so much. But there's a guy in there called Brad and his friends, and they played scary games, and everybody laughed and had a good time. So for me as a 14-year-old, I'm like, me and my friends, I want to post videos of us having fun. So I took my camera, pointed it at the TV. It's tilted. It's a 55-inch TV. You get the reflection of my dining room lights in there. I mean, the stuff was crap back in the day, which, I mean, it's fun to look at, but I privated or unlisted a majority of those videos. I have copies of them all, and even some of them I even deleted off my YouTube channel because I started posting, I know, hundreds and hundreds of videos really early on because I had a 10-minute limit on there, and I was posting all the video games I was playing. And one of the keys was I got World at War in 2008 November. Now, my mom was not keen on it. Again, I'm 14 at the time. So my dad buys me the game because I bought myself the PlayStation 3. I'm all excited. And then because the PlayStation 3 comes with like the ESRB ratings, still remember with one of my best friends, my childhood best friends growing up at the time. He now lives in Ireland, so I hope he's doing safe. I keep in touch with him occasionally, but we cut out the T for teen on the little slip that was in the box that came with the PS3, and then we glued it over the top of Call of Duty World at War's M. And then when my mom would have looked at the game, she's just like, "Oh, just T for teen. It's all right," even though clearly wasn't. And that's how I got into zombies, and I started posting it. I mean, if you actually look at my channel, my 1,000th video is probably only like my 300th video now because I posted that much.
That's a lot. That's a lot to post, especially back then when it was so. We're talking about a time, people, by the way, where there was no such thing as smartphones. All right, there's no such thing as decent internet. You know, if you actually had a decent recording of your TV through a camera, that was considered to be pretty good footage. It was a different time. It was.
Actually, you've reminded me because before I had the PVR, I had one of my dad's cameras which had these micro CDs, and you couldn't just plop a micro CD into the camera. It wouldn't work. I remember I had to transfer the data from the camera through USB through their own proprietary software, and then bring that into Windows Movie Maker. Oh my God!
I did something similar back then. Okay, so my setup, I originally used a camera for one video. That video is now gone. It's deleted. It was that bad. And,
I had many of those.
And I got the Easy Cap, which overheated so much, and I read somewhere that to cool it down, you put a fan on it, but that would then disrupt my microphone. So I used to freeze this bowl of ice and then balance it over the top. So that the ice would keep the Easy Cap cool, because the cooler it would like throttle itself down, so it would drop resolution to however hot it got. So I used to take the cover off, so you had the exposed motherboard and the hanger. That is how it used to be back in the day, people.
Oh, it was horrible. Even the PVR, I remember I'd lose recordings or be blue screen to death. I mean, how far and how easy it is today is wonderful. It's a delight of how easy it is to capture gameplay footage and get it going. I'm
doing a sponsor spot for someone on my channel in a few weeks' time, and they were like, "Yeah, can you just capture some footage from your phone?" And I've never captured footage from my phone before. My phone has an inbuilt screen recorder already. And my phone's 3 years old, and I was like, "Wow, I never knew I had that feature." So it is insane. It's different. I know this sounds like two old dudes saying things were better in the old day.
No, they weren't better. They were garbage in the old days. Let me tell you, I would never go back to using the technology that was available. It was a pain in the ass. Live stream was terrible. Internet service providers were even worse than they are today, which is insane a lot.
Do you remember the Hopog PVR when it had its delay? It had like a 4-second delay.
100%.
So you'd be playing, and if you played multiplayer, you're screwed. You have to disconnect your capture device, because there'd be like 0.4 of a second delay on that, and then on your laptop or whatever you use, there'd be 4 seconds of recording delay.
Absolutely. Like when Elgato released the in real time recording, it was like rocked the capture world. It was like,
I've still got that now. The original Pro, it is in my computer now. It's still brilliant.
Yes, I completely agree. I have the same one. I actually have two Pros. I have adored what Elgato has been able to do. I mean, this is not a sponsorship for Elgato in any way.
No, I wish it was.
I know, right? They're incredible.
Have you seen their light boxes? I'm using one of their green screens now. It's brilliant, but their light boxes, they're fantastic. Anyway, it doesn't matter. That's not what we're here for. What we are here for, though, is to talk about the journey, because that's how you got started. And I actually, when I was looking for your voice stuff, I actually came across a Let's Play of you playing Kingdom Hearts. That's the first video I saw. And then, do you remember that? You never finished it.
No, I didn't. You're 100% right. I didn't. I went and I actually finished the Kingdom Hearts Let's Play with Mr. Telexify years later when we were both streaming it. I thought that was super cool.
Oh, that is very cool.
But that was probably like 2 or 3.5 years ago. But yeah, I remember that. And the problem was views. Again, like the channel, part of the biggest frustration I've always had with this channel is like I want to do different things with it and do things I enjoy. And I was getting anywhere from like 200 to 300 or 400 views on it at the time, where zombie videos were getting a few thousand at a time. So once again, it's like, you know, the viewers want to watch what the viewers want to watch, and they clearly had no interest in what I wanted to do, and that was one of the big frustrations. I went 32 episodes in, and then I think I finished the Let's Play. But I've always had identity crisis problems with the channel. I wanted to play Let's Plays, and I wanted to do zombies, but I was so passionate about the zombie content
it takes over.
It does, because there was so much more interest for that. How many times do you want to see Joe Blow play through a video game? It's just like, well, I got, you know, back in the day, Brad, Xbox. Well, Xbox Ahoy didn't do Let's Plays. I'm thinking of another guy.
He did weapon reviews.
Yeah.
For Call of Duty. He managed to break out of that cycle. I understand. What Brad's talking about here is that there's a cycle you have on YouTube where originally for me it was zombies, and for you it was zombies, where if you posted anything, and I mean anything other than, it could even be just other Call of Duty content, even slightly related to zombies, people wouldn't watch it. And that's kind of where I which we're going to in a minute, broke out in terms of making the Bit More Dave channel, but we'll talk about that in a second. But you found yourself stuck in this cycle, which is I'm getting bored with zombies. I want to break. There's no Treyarch zombies for a year. I want to post some other stuff for a year, and then nobody wants to watch that. So then you go back to posting it, and then the other one comes out, and then you're like, right, I got to post this Treyarch one now. I understand, because like I said, I did the exact same thing where you wanted to post other content for a year. Zombies is taking a break. Now we used to get zombies every year with every COD, and it was
then we got burnout.
Yeah, burnout. Yeah, well, exactly. Now that's where I wanted to sort of talk about where obviously you posted zombies for ages, and if you want to go and watch some of Brad's videos, please do, because they are brilliant. It's theory video. It's theory. They're still up for now, so that's why I'm saying go look at them. But his theory videos were phenomenal, and they were brilliant because he told them like a story from A to B, and that's where his voice comes in. Anyway, it does, and they do well. They still do well. You got videos from a year ago, 6 months ago, 4 months ago. They still do really well.
And some of them I was pretty ahead of my time. Not like I'm so smart, anybody could predict this. This stuff is not too difficult to figure out. Plenty of people in the community were saying very similar things, but it was fun to see how some of it came to life, some of the predictions I had. I know when I went to Treyarch Studios at one point, when they made the timeline, what they did is they had basically all their interns gather all the YouTube videos and information they could online, and they decided point by point what was canon and what wasn't canon. I think one of my contributions, I believe, between all the zombie storylines was Richtofen returns to Shinonuma to go get his journal. I was always so hard that there was a reason for the journal that they bring up in Ascension was actually Richtofen's diary, and that's why he went back to Shinonuma. I don't know where the fuck that came from. I just guessed at that shit, and then it was in the timeline. So whether or not it was specifically me or other people ran with it, it's like little stuff like that make some of the theories feel good and be like, you know, it's like I should leave it up for the people that want it, but I also just like, and I kind of want to move on.
So yeah, this is where me and Rad differ. Where I was focused on the gameplay. So I loved the challenge of going high rounds, doing stupid I once went to a point where I got to round 60 with no jug, no perks whatsoever, using only a single weapon. It's still on that channel if you want to go and look at it. But this was back in the day where, you know, people. I saw someone tweet the other day they got to around 200 with no jug, and I was like, yeah, I can't do that now.
Right, it's insane.
Yeah,
what some of them do, like even Sulky, I think his name is. He does the hardcore Easter eggs on BO4 where you can only take one hit or you lose, and it'll do an entire Easter egg. So he's doing boss fights. It's just insane. The whole process is insane. He does it solo as well.
I can see how the mental. I used to have the same sort of mentality back in the day, which is you keep going until you break. Rad was more focused on the storyline side of things, which when there's no story content makes it a lot harder to make videos, which is something we talked about earlier, burnout. But let's talk about where from what I feel it went not wrong for you, where you burned out, because it went wrong. Let's talk about where it went wrong then. I've got my own theory and I want to know if it's right, because so let's see. So my burnout was midway through Black Ops 3. It was sort of happening anyway for like 6 months, But then what was that map with the spiders? That was awful.
Zetsubo no Shima.
Zetsubo no Shima. So I actually did a video on it, really good, 10,000 views. I got to go and do some early footage of it. It was great. And it came out, and I was just like, nah, I'm done. This is where I'm done. And I just disappeared. I didn't even explain. I just gone. For you, was it somewhere midpoint in Black Ops 4 where you realized, where you fully?
It took me a long time to realize, Dave. I got to be honest with you. It took a lot of self-reflection and a lot of hopefully growing in maturity to reflect about what a little bitch I was being during Black Ops 4. And that was because I felt basically trapped in what I was doing. I had to be producing content because I decided to take this full time. BO4 was as promised. It was hyped. It was marketing. I was a BO4 Zombies guy. I'm being flown out to events to cover Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies. You know, I'm talking with the head developers and all these other people I admire, or at least peers of mine who have much more successful YouTube channels. I'm in that crowd. I'm in that circle now. I'm supposed to be doing this. And you can literally watch my descent into, you know, unhealthy areas because of Zombros. Every week I'm forced to talk about a topic during BO4 that I hate. I hate playing the game. The season was not fun for me. I did not enjoy a majority of what was going on because as soon as the Easter eggs were solved and the story was recontextualized, it was a mess. The Chaos story was not told in order, which it's much better now at the end of the season. But during it, I was in a major frustration because they were doing this serialized, basically, tune in next week to figure out what happens. But next week is 6 months. So it's like you're not interesting, compelling stuff in the game to keep me interested for 6 months and to keep a lot of the audience interested for 6 months, on top of crashes and gameplay bugs. And it's a problem of being
that was a big problem. Now I didn't play Black Ops 4 all that much. I actually played a lot of the multiplayer on that game, but I didn't touch the zombie stuff. But I understand there was a horrendous blue screen RAM issue.
Horrible. It was horrible, and it was something difficult to deal with because you're trying your best to play something you don't enjoy, and then the game's taking it away from you. So it almost feels like the game's punching you in the face, and you're getting punished further for something you don't want to be doing. I remember playing Voyage of Despair on launch for the Easter egg for 18 hours straight, and I basically got Stockholm Syndrome. We crashed like horrible. 12 times during that 18 hours. And the thing is, it was like, what else am I supposed to be doing, right? Views are up, people are excited about the game, but I'm supposed to be doing this, right? And this is what people want to see, and this is my coverage is what my job is. And it only feeds into the problem is views kept rewarding this unhealthy behavior of doing something I seriously don't enjoy, which I do want to put a little caveat here. It's an extremely privileged position to be in. Playing video games and not enjoying it to the degree, it's the idea of like you do anything too much, or if you love a hobby and then you turn it to a full-time job, there's always that risk of turning it into something you end up hating because you're doing too much of it. I think it crossed over that threshold, BO3 and BO4, and I only say BO3 bits and pieces was just how convoluted the storyline started getting with multiverse, with Cthulhian lore, with the children in the house, like all these extra details just kept getting added, and I would like have to turn around and go, what the fuck?
It's suffering from the Zelda problem, which is there's a bunch of stories put together trying to make a storyline that doesn't exist. And you know, there was always a storyline of zombies, tidbits here and there, but never to the degree that it was when Black Ops 3 launched. Black Ops 3 was the first game that truly threw the story at your face. Black Ops 2, it was. I think Black Ops 2 was the perfect mix between gameplay and story. You had a perfect mix there. Black Ops 1 the same, to a simpler degree. But the 3 was the point where I think it started turning. 4, have you seen the HUD on Black Ops 4? Smithy tweeted it out the other day, like 4 of the HUDs on the game. Like, which one do you prefer? And I looked at Black Ops 4 and I was like, what even? I don't even know what half of those things mean. It's too complicated.
It's basically a streamer template with all the bullshit.
Yes, yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a streamer template. Exactly. Oh my god, that was what it was. So that's when the sort of decline happened. And was there a moment? Was there a video that I know that it eats at you, burnout eats at you over time because you want to do it for the views, but at the same time, you're not enjoying it. There's no dopamine hit from getting doing what you enjoy doing anymore, which is what everybody's chasing on YouTube and video games, is a dopamine hit. It's what we all live for, basically. And there was no dopamine hit there anymore, so it was eating away. But was there a certain video that turned it around for you? It was for me. Was there for you? Was there a video where you went, I can't do this anymore? I just can't. I know the Zombros thing you mentioned.
There's been a multitude of those videos, especially one of which where Zombros, I mean, I was literally, John was talking to me and we had to keep restructuring the show because I was getting so bummed out and depressed about it, that we wouldn't be talking about BO4. We'd be talking about just like more timeless topics like custom zombies or, you know, features and mechanics that we should be added to the game and so on and so forth. Recently was the most recent drop was the mainframe series I was doing, which is really well done, and I had editors helping me, Chroma and BT. They're absolutely talented. They're excellent. They were keeping the channel alive a little longer. But I can't. What the schedule was is I got to get them everything recorded by Tuesday night Eastern Standard Time, like 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
If I don't get it to them Tuesday, then I have to edit the video, and I have to edit a majority of it. The closer we get to Friday, when it's due at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that's the more work I have to do. And then there's weeks I'm just not going to do that to my editors. I'm not just going to dump it on them Thursday night so they pull an all-nighter. So it became tougher and tougher because Sunday I have Zombros, and you know, you end up working that, and then I just have to upload it to iTunes and Spotify, and there's all this little busy work that ends up happening. And I had all my poster business going, and all these other things throughout the week slowly turned my schedule from, I was waning down prior in August of 2019. I was really making that realization about this isn't for me anymore. So I was winding down my hours, but then it got ramped back up during the coronavirus because I had nothing better to do with my time besides being bored. And I'm spending 60 to 80 hours again. And this is where I was unhappy back in October 2019 when Black Ops 4 released, or 2018. When Black Ops 4 released, because it was just, it feels like this endless rat race. And you know, when you say a breaking point of videos, nothing's really sticking out to me per se. It might have been around the first DLC, Dead of the Night, might have really started to break me when it came to Black Ops 4 and whether I enjoyed or didn't enjoy the content in Call of Duty Zombies. It was right around that time. I know, like, even the evolution over the years, I used to do zombie tutorials, and I tried to do no BS tutorials over the years, but to me it became soulless work. Like, that's not compelling to me. This isn't interesting. I want to be making something more than just, hi guys, I'm doing a video tutorial. You make sure you pick this, and I know I won't do that.
Train. I know. I understand. Train around this open area. This is a good place to train. I used to do a whole series on that. It was rave trains, where you used to have just trains. Where can you train on different points of the map?
Yeah, and you know, back in the day, that was fun. But then when there's 40 plus maps, it's just like, who the fuck cares, man? Like, all right, I guess so. And that's not. I don't. And again, I don't want this interview to sound like I'm ungrateful to the community, or if you enjoy the Call of Duty Zombies game, that you shouldn't. This is just the evolution of where my mindset is at over the years. I know some people love the story and they don't think it's convoluted whatsoever, or I mean, there's plenty of people that know much more about the story than I do at this point. I used to be one of the experts, and I think that's where some people might have been getting upset with me in BO4, which I think is totally justified, especially given my immaturity in dealing with the topic, because I almost felt like my livelihood was under attack. I felt like I was almost betrayed because I was entitled to some Treyarch storyline or game or something that I was supposed to enjoy. And I feel like a lot of my ideas were undermined because there was so much retconning going on. So every time like they were doing so much, you're just like, what the hell is the point of this? Like, who the hell cares? Especially when they introduced the multiverse, to me, all the weight was gone. And even when I had conversations with the developers, one of the things that stuck with me was they're just like, every outcome you can imagine has happened in one universe or another. Like, whatever storyline you think has happened in things we haven't decided to cover. This is just the story we're interested in telling. And just like,
that gives them scope to do any. That's the gives them scope to do anything, though. That's the thing. That's
I get from their point of view, but to me, it was a complete turnoff. It's just like, I don't.
Because it doesn't matter. Because
like, nothing matters. So the story you tell me is just as good as the one I make up in my head.
Yes.
Like, I don't want.
Exactly.
You're talented. You're much more talented than me. You have a whole team of much more talented people than me. That's why I'm invested. I want you to tell a story that I thought was self-contained and interesting. And I think it's just a relic of how much I don't like time travel anymore or multiverse.
I
And it just hurts narratives. I think my
all time travel.
particular
No, all time
taste.
travel does. Unless something is
Some people might enjoy it. I don't want to take that away from them, but for me personally, time travel I think really hurts any narrative you're trying to tell.
there's the time travel. The problem with time travel is it's often used in everything, media, stories, whatever it may be. It's often used to get yourself out of an unwinnable situation. That is the problem, and it's a cop out. That's the idea.
Yeah.
Things
or avoid consequences as well.
Yes, avoid consequences, absolutely. Things that are based around time travel, things like Doctor Who, for example, that are based around time travel, you can't travel back in your own timeline, etc., and stick to the rules, work really, really well.
Agreed.
Things like Infinity War, which is I love Infinity War. Okay,
I do too.
I love it. It's one of the greatest films ever made. But they break their own rules in the film, and that put me off. They do.
Plenty of times. It happened series after series. Game of Thrones started doing shit like that. I mean, it's head scratching when you start to see this stuff introduced. I think it is one of the worst things to do when you break your others can break the rules, can do whatever they want, but I feel very strongly narratively you can break your rules a certain amount of times because then that helps for a good reveal. A classic thing is just like all the dragons are gone is a very classic like Aragon tropey. Game of Thrones did it, and then all of a sudden they're not gone. Oh, that's compelling, it's exciting, cool, we could do that. But the amount of times like you do that undo in the world. When I read the Divergent books when I was much younger, before all the garbage movies, I never watched a single one of those. If you enjoyed the movie, again, not an attack on you. But I was reading the books. The first book, I'm like, oh, this is great. And in the second book, they just started undoing all this stuff. I'm like, oh. And then I read the third book. I was like, what?
That's why the Star Wars trilogy, the latest one, didn't work.
Yes.
Because it was directors fighting and undoing everybody else's work.
Exactly. And there was definitely people didn't understand the what Star Wars was. I think Rian Johnson, and I don't want to go down this rabbit hole too much.
We're going down this. No, we got to avoid this because I've got very strong opinions on this.
I do too.
I can tell you have.
I do. So I'll do it real quick. He's a very competent director.
Yes, he is.
Knives Out were great movies. It was clearly not understanding the material for the type of fans that really love Star Wars. And that's where Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, and George Lucas, when they work together, it works a lot better. George is great at world building, but
he needs someone to tell him
no. When he does, when he has a bunch of yes people like he did with the prequels, oh man, does that
don't the prequels look like masterpieces now though?
It's insane. It also helps. To be fair, I think Clone Wars is the greatest thing, the animated series, to come out of all. Star Wars.
100%. What an amazing! If you want some content to watch and you're still in quarantine,
yes, seriously,
go and watch the Star Wars: The Clone Wars. I kid you not, it is not a children's thing. They go into some deep stuff there.
It's terrific, and they make even the Metachlorian counts into something more existential. It's not just something in your blood. I remember that was something original trilogy people really.
Yeah, they basically fixed the Metachlorian thing from the Phantom Menace.
They created the greatest character, Ahsoka Tano. They have amazing character arcs, and the thing is, they have the luxury of hundreds of hours to build characters and expand on the universe, which you don't get in the movie. And I think that's where Star Wars is best, just like the Mandalorian TV show that's come out. It's best when you have all that time to explore. But oh god, we diverged from zombies and narratives. The point of all that is the examples that we use is why zombies start to turn me off, is because I care so much about narratives. I love storytelling so much, and zombies really departed for me from compelling storytelling.
It sounds weird. It became casual in a way. I know it sounds, that's a really horrible way to phrase it.
Which is strange because it's so crazy complicated now.
Yes,
it's casual, but like
you have to turn yourself off. You have to turn yourself off. You got to pay attention, but not too much.
Yes. I like that a lot. Yeah.
This is unfortunately, I imagine, something that's probably come down from higher up. The hardcore audience, as much as myself and Rad and whoever it is, does not make up the majority of the people that play your games and watch your films and read your books. So they have to appeal to as many people as they can, because at the end of the day, there is only one reason why people are making content, and that is because money. Because yes, the moolah, exactly. People need the moolah. And obviously that brings us quite neatly, you're gonna love this segue, back into you, because I understand how hard it is making money on YouTube. And it is an endless grind. You're trying to constantly please this horrible monster that's sitting in the background, and it's called the YouTube algorithm. And it is a horrible thing. You're constantly feeding it, and the more you feed it, the more you're stuck in its clutches, because if you don't feed it, then you're in trouble. And that became a problem for you. That is because as soon as, even if the enjoyment's gone, even if the enjoyment's gone, and even if you are a slave to the hours that you work, if you're not making the money, then it does truly become pointless. You can probably work through the unhappiness, and you'd be sad. You'd be a sad human being, but you could probably do that if it meant at the end of the day you're paying your bills, you had your studio, you have your house.
Exactly.
So that was the next thing. That was obviously the final nail.
Let me get into this, because this is something I think about a lot, discuss a lot, and feel passionately about. One of the points of view is when they say I was doing it for the money, this is something that I feel like sounds really shitty on the surface level, and maybe you'll still think it's shitty.
It's not.
The perspective I come from, I think it depends on the perspective. I'm not trying to exploit my viewers. I think that's where I have a lot of moral issues with people I've worked with in the past. They very much treat their viewers like sheep, and then that they're to be exploited, make as much money about them. F them, doesn't matter. Let's make as much money as possible off these people. Let's incentivize them to steal their money away. I'm very
Capitalism.
I'm very much against that idea of the exploitation of my viewers. If you need the money, don't spend it on my dumb bullshit. Like, take care of yourself. I've always said that.
Yes.
I've always been a big proponent of that.
Yes.
So to me, my perspective of doing it for the money was, how dare you make more than poverty, and you complain about like not making enough money? Like, how dare you throw this opportunity away? How many people would kill to be making the money that you're doing just to pay the bills right now? And that's very much where I came from. It's just like, I don't have a right to throw this away. I don't have a right to squander the opportunity I had. And there's a perspective that I'm happy that at least I gave it a solid try, but it's not sustainable. All right. The income I was making, I mean, you look at my tax returns, and I'm making, like, from AdSense.
I don't need to look at your tax returns. We won't say how much people make. I know how much you make, because I know probably what your CPM is, and
I'm
you can work out from views.
With the CPM, because I have other stuff, but with the CPM, I'm making less than $10,000 a year on AdSense. All right. So it's like, what is that doing for me? That's not enough to pay the bills. If I don't have, people
in the UK, you wouldn't pay tax on any of that.
Yeah. I end up paying tax on that, which is ridiculous.
Yeah,
but
in the UK, you're earning so little that you would not pay tax on that amount of money that you earn. That is how little amount that is.
So that's slowly,
Sorry, just to give people a perspective, okay? Just to give people a perspective, okay? $10,000 sounds like a lot, and it is if you're going to spend it on sweets, okay? But if you're going to spend it on candy or sweets, that is a lot of money. If you're going to spend $10,000 on owning a house, you need a new boiler. It's £2,000, £2,000, $3,000 roughly. If you need a new carpet, whatever reason, maybe £1,000. All of a sudden, your house needs two things in a year. That 10 grand's gone. Or you have car payments, or you have a mortgage, or you have
$800 a month. All right,
rent.
You can't even afford rent for 12 months out of the year with that money.
No,
it's like,
no,
so
exactly.
That's at a very early stage when I took this seriously in 2015, so not that early, obviously. This is years and years of doing it as a side hobby. When I decided to do it full time, I created multiple different revenue streams. I had Patreon, I had the streaming tips and donations, I had the merchandise, which is the majority of any money I make, and that's where I found my passions gravitating towards. And AdSense, I believe those are my 4 revenue sources. I might have had a 5th one at some point. I don't remember. But I learned that in college, so this is free financial advice to anybody. You want to have as many revenue sources as possible coming in, so in case one of them dries up, you still have money coming in.
Eggs in one basket. and all that sort of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the posters became something I absolutely loved. The perk posters I did early on with my sister, and we didn't
They're on
really.
my wall right here, right now. They're framed in a wall.
Yeah.
I kept them. I kept those, right? I got them when they first came out, and I kept them under my mattress so that I knew what I wanted to do with them, and I framed them in exact right frames, and they are now on my wall, and they will be going to my new house in my office as well. They are phenomenal. They're every single perk from zombies. They're all across my wall. I'll put a photo. I'll put a photo up right now. You can see in the video. That is. Yeah. Well, they are awesome. They are awesome.
I try a lot, and I actually got teary-eyed last night because my artist got back to me. He isn't going to be able to work on anything for the rest of the year, so this was his last project with me for a while because he has to go back to school and do a lot of stuff. He's incredibly talented, but this is where I was getting into the idea of, or the feeling that my content, I'm not proud of my content. This is something I'm extremely proud of. All right, this is coming. They're restocking, and on June 18th, and this is what I'm more pursuing. Is these movie posters that I was making. They're 24 inches by 36 inches, so they're huge. Just think the movie posters when you go
movie style posters, but for video games.
Exactly. And the Last of Us poster I got hit with last night.
Oh, that's phenomenal.
It's gorgeous. It's just
that's incredible.
Gorgeous.
You'd have. If you want to judge art, sorry I'm interrupting, but I went to art school, so for me this is porn for me. If you want to judge art well, and you like tattoos, ask yourself this question: if you look at a piece of art, is it good? Would I get it tattooed on my back? That's a really good analogy, because you're stuck with that for life. Would you enjoy that on your back? Would you enjoy waking up in the mirror and looking in the mirror and turning around and seeing that on your back? And I would. That Last of Us poster, I would.
Thank you. And I could not be prouder of that or the other 4 posters that me and Stefan collaborated to make. He's the artist, he's all the talent, but I do the layouts, I give all the feedback, all the ideas, and I know when an arc back and forth, he tells me he appreciates the imagery that I can give him, the way I present
the artistic direction.
Yeah, and then that's where I think I need to be. I feel like this was something in my head, and then it's brought to light through the talents of the many artists in the world. This is where I think my calling ends up gravitating towards. So that's where YouTube, when I was doing it for the money, because the merchandise was the biggest income, and that was sustaining me to be able to hang around. What business did I have hanging around with people like Noah J in our community, Mr. Dowlick, JD? These are juggernauts. These are the biggest guys in the community, Mr. Raffle community, Mr. Raffle Waffles, and they are making bank off just their AdSense. But I was able to, through business, just my education and my business know-how, to try and stay in that crowd. That's something I sort of felt proud of, is that I found other ways to hang around, even though I had no business being there with my view count, with my subscriber count, with the income I get from AdSense. It was like,
I understand.
I wasn't in the party.
You feel like you were going to the college party, and you helped the cool kid with his homework once, and he said, "Well, why don't you come along?"
Exactly. I'm the nerdy ass freshman that's sitting there on the wall, just looking around like,
you have a Coke right there. Yep. You're sipping it away in the back, and they're like, "Oh, you got some vodka in that?" No. I understand. I understand how that feels. I was in the same position with the British YouTubers coming over here, like come to events, like what the hell's going on?
Yeah. Oh my God, think about that. For certain, and especially the British YouTubers go back in the day. American, so more insight into the community. We're jealous, endlessly jealous, because we
did everything together.
The creators had so much more. Activision was so much more active with their capture events, and they were so much more ahead than the.
We had a string of about 3 very good community managers who are just very very good. I don't know who it is now. I don't know if it's still the same person. Last time I checked, it was Dom. It's probably not the same person, but it was a string of people. Anyway, we need to. It's been 45 minutes, and there's one thing I need to ask you before we finish up, because we've gone on some tangents. I'm not gonna lie, but there is a question that was burning that I wanted to ask you, which is 2 questions. What will you miss about doing this? What will you miss? Because if you can say you won't miss anything, I will truly believe you won't post another video for at least a very long time.
Yes. That's where I'm at. I got to be honest with you because I'm spoiled. One of the biggest things I would have missed is talking with Johnny J every week. That
Yeah.
was something that is just special. It's a friendship I built with him. As long, I mean, this is a guy I'll probably invite to my wedding someday if I ever end up getting married. That's how close we've gotten over the years. And we're still doing a poster business in the background. We're working with other content creators to continue producing posters, and I'm fulfilling that type of stuff. So I'm still spoiled. I still get to have my meetings with John. I still am going to talk with John regularly and interact with the community from a different perspective. I still have my Discord server and Twitch channel if I ever want to stream, so I can always just jump on and do that at any point in time.
Yeah. No. Rad, you're not answering the question. What will you miss most? Stop dodging it. Come on. There is something. Come on. I know. What are you going to miss most?
Honestly, I don't know. I think it'll come to me later. I don't think I'm arrogant enough to say I won't miss anything, but at this time, it's like I've done this for 12 years. I don't know what I would miss about it. I'm pretty exhausted. Even like I look at the comments, and I appreciate the kind words and the praise, but also I have to take it in the same respect as a lot of the negative connotation that comes towards me. If I accept the praise, I have to accept the negative praise, and a lot of negative.
Oh, 100%.
So unwarranted. So just like you only take it with a grain of salt. That's why I struggle with this community to see that I've left any footprint in this community and I meant anything to anybody, because so much of it I feel like is BS. Is that just I could post a video of black screen and people be like, amazing artistic approach.
Hang on, 1 second. Oh, I just pulled out my headphone. Okay, we're back.
But like I felt like there's a crowd of people that will say I will do no wrong, and there's a crowd that no matter what I do, it's wrong. So I've never been able to really take that feedback seriously. Any of the friends I've made, I'm still a DM away. I'm not losing any friendships over this and walking away from zombies. I'm not closing the door completely on zombies in case it comes around in the fall and my perspectives has changed and I'm in a different place and maybe I just need a siesta. I don't know what I'll honestly miss about YouTube. I think if you ask me in 6 months, Dave, I'll have a better answer for you. But at this time, I don't think there's anything.
I'll remember that, and I will, and I will ask you in 6 months. As
Please,
I will. And finally, I was going to ask this question, but I'm going to change the question. I was going to ask, where do you see yourself?
I got nowhere to go, Dave, but it's up to you. How long the attention span is on this?
I was going to ask, where do you see your future on YouTube? But I think that's a irrelevant question after speaking to you. So I wanted to tell you that you mentioned something before about the comments, right? You have to take the positive and the negative. And I'm fairly certain, because ratios are pretty much the same across YouTube, that for every one bad comment, there's 15 good, 20 good comments, right?
Yeah.
But you'll take that one bad comment as 15 to 20 bad. That one bad comment, because you always do.
They will replay in my head over and over for a whole week.
And the reason why I wanted to do this interview with you was not just for the sake of the community, which I'm not a part of anymore, to be losing somebody who is so important to it, but because if it was not for you, as I said, I would not be on YouTube. And I wanted to thank you. And if nobody else will miss you, I will. And thank you very much for posting as long as you have and providing content for the way you have been for the last 12 years. So thank you, Rad.
Well, I really appreciate it, David. You're too kind to me, as many people are on this platform, for even giving a crap what I think, say, or do.
I don't give a crap what you think, say, or do. You can do or think and say whatever you want. I don't give a crap about that. But I want to let you know that you have changed the way that I view the internet and the YouTube and the platform. And I would not be sitting here talking to you if you had not mislabeled one of your videos as voice acting 9 years ago. And I've somehow managed to come across it through my YouTube. So I wanted to say thank you. And I urge everybody who is watching this video now, if you've made it to this point, go and look at some of Rad's previous videos. Don't just watch the popular stuff, watch some of the other stuff, because some of the other stuff is honestly brilliant. So everything in between. And you'll enjoy it. I promise you will. Before he privates it all. Do what I do. Just do a best of. I went through and picked what I thought were my best videos and privated everything else. That's quite a good thing to do.
I'll toy around with it.
That's all right.
Why not? Thanks, Dave, for doing this. And, you know, I want to thank, again, the zombie community for everybody that did like my content, did believe in the content, that did think of me as an expert in the zombies community, that believed in me enough for Treyarch to acknowledge my existence in the past and fly me out to the events. I do appreciate the growth that everybody has given me over the years. You can literally see it through my videos, from a 14-year-old boy to now a 25-year-old man, of how my viewpoints have changed, how I've evolved as a person, what core values have stayed the same or changed over the years. It has been something of a privilege to get the good and the bad with the internet, to grow as a person, to hopefully become better and expand my perspectives and understand people come from very different places, and allow me to connect with people all around the world in a way I never would have been able to outside of this. It's been a very long 12-year journey into Call of Duty Zombies, the content that I cover in content creation. It's something that I have thoroughly enjoyed at times, I have thoroughly hated at times, and I think it has been one of the best life lessons I've had out there, with interacting with people, with understanding how the world works, with criticism, being rewarded for your efforts, for being passed over for your efforts. It has been a wonderful life lesson. It has been an experience I do not take for granted as much as I'm leaving it as it is right now. And I want to thank, again, all those people that have ever contributed to me, whether it be views, whether it be interactions, whether it be financially. I do not take for granted any of the kindness that you've shown me. It's more than I ever deserved. It's more than I ever should have gotten on any of these platforms. And I am eternally grateful for the moments I've had and experienced on this platform and in this community.
Everybody else thanks you as well, Rad. Simple as that. Thank you very much. Not just from me, but from everybody, your subscribers, and everybody else in the community. It is true. Like I said, guys, please go and have a look at Rad's. His link will be in the description, as long as with a few other things, his posters as well. Go and have a look at them. They're awesome. They are very, very cool. Especially if you like The Last of Us. I know there's a lot of people who like The Last of Us on my channel. So go and have a look at that. And I'll see you guys next time. Big Witches Love Us. And we'll see where it goes. Thank you very much, Rad, for coming on. I know it's something you don't normally do, but there we go.
Yeah.